being super close to the water, fighting a big fish is a feeling that few people understand how amazing and cool it is. But kayak fishing is not without its frustrations. There's a lot of them. In this video, we're gonna be covering the top 5, but the best part is we're gonna talk about how we could avoid them. The first one is slip and fall. But what I notice is that most of the time that I have fallen off or lost my balance is because I've been trying to go 100,000 miles an hour and stuff happens. So the first thing that you gotta do to make sure that you don't slip and fall is to take it easy, take it slow. Be mindful of every step that you take. And of course, there's other things that you can do other than taking it slow. For example, if you love to launch your kayak at a boat ramp, always assume that it's gonna be completely wet and slippery, because they are. What you would do is back up the truck, hold on to the truck as you walk down to the water, hold on to your trailer as you do that. Look at the marina. If there's an area where maybe there's a little bit of dirt and stuff, you know that it's not gonna be as slippery as the solid ramp. Push your kayak out to the water. Don't even get close to that slippery surface at all. Just use a rope and go through the dock. If you're gonna be launching at a regular kayak launch, don't assume again that just because it's a kayak launch that it's gonna be super ready for kayaks. Most of the time they're not. They're still slippery. You still may lose your balance. We're talking about water, algae, and stuff. Another thing you can do is, don't be me, wear proper attire, proper shoes that have traction, and that way you're gonna be safer. The most frustrating part of kayak fishing, this is so frustrating because you think of yourself as a professional angler, not a professional, but somebody who already knows what they're doing. You've seen it all, you've been on the water for years, you know what you're doing, right? And yet this thing always happens. And it is the fact that plenty of time when you go to do the first cast, you hit the rods on the back. I'm gonna put a montage of me doing that in the last 2 fishing trips. Now I have an excuse. I'm always on a different kayak because I'm always testing a new boat, and I really don't get a lot of times to go fish on the same boat. And by the time I get to fish on that boat, I sort of like don't remember where everything is. So I'm there just fishing, minding my own business, talking to the camera, thinking about what I'm gonna say next. And the next thing that happens is I hit the rod in the back because I forgot I put it there. Because the angles of the rod holders are in a place where I don't remember. It is a big problem for me. So don't be me. What I recommend you do, if you have, let's say, one kayak only, I will rig it up like I like to fish. Maybe I take 4 rods with me. I got a black pack, whatever, milk crate. Put the rods in there, put rods that I don't mind breaking, and then just sit where I would normally sit and cast blindly. Like maybe just act like I'm fishing. I will even put a camera to see what exactly I'm actually doing, because one of the things that I learned with so many years of making videos is that what we think is happening in here, when you look at it, reality, it's something very different. Like you may think you're casting perfectly or that you're not even close to hitting the rod on the back, but you were. What happens with me in my situation, and this could be you too if you have multiple kayaks, is that you don't remember exactly where everything is. You don't remember the angle of the rod holders. Don't remember how close those rods are actually to you, depending on what kayak you're on. Once you figure it out, like the perfect distance, exactly where to put the rods and everything, you could remember that. You could do a checklist. You could be like, hey, for the autopilot, I'm gonna take the black pack, I'm gonna put 3 rods on rod holders at the end of it, and I know that every cast I make, I'm not gonna be hitting any of those rods. I don't think I have a solution to my problem, because my own great problem to have, because I'm on a different boat every week, and it'll be impossible to remember exactly where everything goes. I am 41 years old and my prime is not fit. I choose to optimize my health so I can keep fishing hard instead of just accepting a decline of my energy. This portion of the video is a paid promotion sponsored by Labcorp OnDemand. I purchased their men's health test to check my testosterone and HbA1c levels. I came to Labcorp to get my samples collected. The process is simple. There is no doctor's appointment necessary. You just walk in and there's no need to prick your own finger. You will be notified by email when the results are ready as early as the next day. Do not wait for a wake-up call to check on your health. Take action now. Go to trylco.com/Aliex. The link is right at the top of the description. Use my code Aliex to save 20% off on select tests so you could check your own key levels. I got my results the very next day. My testosterone level is a healthy 398, and my hemoglobin A1C is 5.6%. It is showing that my low carb diet is actually working, but I need to keep grinding so it doesn't creep up. Grass has to be the most frustrating thing that we deal with as kayak anglers. This is one of the main reasons why you may want to choose one boat over the other, one type of propulsion over the other. If you fish super infected grass waters, you don't want a propel drive. You don't want the new Boya kayak that is coming up, because it's just gonna be stuffed with the grass. Maybe that prop is very powerful and cuts through, yet to see, but based on my understanding, you don't want to have that kayak if you fish grassy waters, because you're gonna spend more time pulling the grass out of it. Just like a Bisbee. Bisbee has a little cone, grass gets in there, Bisbee shut off. You don't want to have a Bisbee in those situations. But what can you do to fight grass? Well, one of the things that I have found in my extensive kayak fishing experience, going back to, I don't know, 2013, I put my first motor on a kayak in 2013. Well, that's a while ago. Is to have a very powerful kayak motor on the back, something like the NK300, not the 180, the 300 or the NT300, or if you like Torqeedo, get an ultra light Torqeedo motor, put in the back and go. Why? Because those motors have giant props. I think I said 3,000 watts. It's really 1,300 watts, give or take, of power, kind of like a 3 horsepower. That is a lot of power that is gonna enable your motor to cut through most grass. And the motor being on the back and having an easy lift and deploy system is gonna allow you to, in case it gets stuffed, you could just shake it a little bit, put it back down and go. But I've been in situations where not even that works. So if you wanna remedy that, if you always fish grass infested waters and nothing works, the best thing you can do is to get a paddle kayak. A kayak that was designed to paddle, that you could still maybe stand on and fish, something like the Bonafide River, even some of the old towns, the 120, normal, non-PDL, those paddle well, and you can still stand on those boats. Because why even get a motor, why get a propel drive kayak if you're not gonna be able to use it? Just get something that you're gonna be able to paddle. And here is where I would also recommend something else. If you really fish in a place where it's just thick grass and it's a mess always, maybe you wanna get something that floats more than a standard kayak. I'm talking about an inflatable kayak. You gotta be mindful of your areas. If there's a lot of pointy things, maybe you don't want to do this. But if the water is clear, no stumps, nothing, no oyster bags, none of that, it's just a lot of grass, an inflatable paddle kayak may be your solution, because those kayaks float. They're gonna have a higher level in the water than a heavy kayak that is made out of plastic. You're gonna be able to paddle through that grass easier and get to places. If you get one with a dual chamber, something like the Sea Eagle Fish Sub 1210, I think it is, you got dual chambers, or some of the Bolton ones, dude, you're set. You could also motorize those things. This one, you know, it's nature. Fighting the elements is one of the most difficult things that you can do as a kayak angler. Let's talk about this, guys. Nature has its own way, and sometimes you're there when it's super windy or it's very choppy, a lot of waves, a lot of current, and that really can make the difference between having a wonderful time on the water and safety versus having probably the worst fishing trip of your life. But that's why we have a crazy kayak fishing industry that have come up with solutions for all those problems. For example, current, moving water, you could get a power pole micro anchor, put it on your kayak on the front or the back, and boom, your anchor. Don't like that? You could get a fancy auto boat system. It is a electronic GPS controlled trolling motor that you could spot lock and navigate. You could do DIY projects with that, or you could simply get one of the garments or the Minn Codex. People don't understand how amazing spot lock, anchor lock, whatever whole lock you want to call it is when it comes to fishing, kayak fishing. You could anchor electronically in front of bridges, boat channels, outside the boat channel, and other places, and you could easily get out of there without having to wait to pull an anchor up or anything like that. We got tools from inexpensive to super high-end prices that will allow you to do that. Let's say you don't have any of that and you still want to have a great day on the water. You can take advantage of the weather, of the current, of the way of the sea. If you see the tide's going out and it's going this way, maybe launch over there, let it take you all the way over here. You fish with the tide, and when it changes, you go all the way back up and you spend a lot less energy and more time fishing. You gotta read the waters that you fish and act accordingly. Another thing is, of course, safety. If it's super windy, if it's gonna be a bad day, don't go. Or if you go, make sure that you have places where you could actually shelter from the bad weather. Perhaps the most frustrating thing when it comes to kayak fishing is the fact that there's simply not enough time to enjoy it. By the time you get your equipment set up, you load up your truck, you drive to the water, you bring the kayak down, attach the motor, put in your fishing gear, your batteries, you probably spend an hour, 2 hours just trying to set up, and most of the time the bite is gone by then, right? That early morning bite. So maybe we should go back to simple when it's possible. If we set up a kayak that is just a paddle kayak, a paddle, one rod, a small tackle box, and we just take that on the water and just have fun with it, we may enjoy kayak fishing more than when we try to do everything. And that's not to say that you shouldn't have the big setup or the tournament rig or all the bells and whistles. It's just saying that you should also have a simple setup. Just a nice paddling kayak with one rod holder, one rod, and a tackle box, and just go be a kid again. I also love my motors, love my heavy duty kayak setups. I don't want to be fighting conditions if I want to fish a bridge, or if I'm going long distance. I don't want to be wasting all my energy just paddling. So I like to have my heavy duty setup for those occasions, but that is for those occasions. In the quest of having more time on the water, we should use every resource that we can get, every resource that we have at our disposal, like a trailer. If you get a nice trailer and you set it up where you could have your kayak ready to go, pre-rig, and you just back it up to the marina, you tap the brake and that thing comes out, you go park, get back on the kayak, go fishing. If you have it like that, you're gonna enjoy it more than ever, and you wanna go and do that because it's easy. But if your setup is so complicated that even having a trailer, you still need an hour to set everything up, like what are we doing here? So the best thing is to look for ways to improve our efficiency, so we spend more time on the water, on that kayak, holding that rod, catching fish. If you want to support the channel, there's links and affiliate codes and discount codes and things that can help you get the gear you need to have the best time on the water possible. Thank you for watching.